Chapter 12. Donovan stepped out of the gun shop. His hands were crammed with several boxes of bullets. His hat was low over his face. He saw the crowd forming around the naked man that was handcuffed to the post at the jailhouse. Up ahead, he saw the men guiding Papa down the street. One had their pistol on him. He stuffed the box of bullets into a leather pouch that was strapped to the saddle. He thought about reaching for the rifle in the saddle, but he was too far away, and the men with the guns were too close to Papa. He walked around and slapped Fletcher on the rear. Fletcher took off, knowing he had Donovan's permission to run wild. Donovan blocked him so that he would run in the direction of Papa and the two men. After Fletcher took off, Donovan moved toward Papa and the men with him. His stomach turned. His worst nightmare had come true. One of his enemies had finally gotten to his family. There was no one to blame but himself. He was becoming soft and careless in his attempts to avoid violence and bloodshed. He should have confronted those men earlier when they seemed to have recognized him. If he had, his Papa wouldn't be in danger right now. But how did they know that he and Papa were kin? Did they catch on to their slight interaction earlier? Donovan only nodded, and Papa barely raised his hand in a half attempt to wave. But even from this, one couldn't possibly assume that they were family. He studied the men as he moved toward them. Admittedly, he still didn't recognize them, but he didn't always recognize his enemies. Fletcher ran with such astonishing speed that the men had to turn to observe. Most people couldn't resist watching the horse when he raced by them. When the dust settled and the men were no longer distracted by Fletcher, Donovan was upon them. "That's far enough," said the bald man. His gun was extended at Donovan. Donovan stopped. He was as close as he needed to be. He focused on Papa, analyzing the dark bruises on his face and the blood on his lips. He frowned. He studied their faces as they studied his. He still did not recognize them. "Do I know you?" Donovan asked. "I don't reckon we know each other," answered the bald man. "Don't know too many niggers, but I've seen you around nonetheless. I was there when you shot that man in the saloon a couple years back. A white man at that." "I don't remember you," Donovan said. "Maybe," said the bald man, "but I remember you. You chased that man into the saloon. He was begging for someone to help him. No one had time before you got to him. I was so close to him that some of his blood got on me. I heard you say something about your wife, that he killed her or something." Donovan remembered the incident, but he still didn't recognize the bald man. "A friend of yours?" Donovan asked. "No, just a man in the saloon. Didn't know him before that day." The bald man paused for a moment. "Did he kill your wife?" Donovan nodded. "That's right." Strangely, the bald man was sympathetic. "That explains why you killed him. Half the town was looking for you, especially him being a white man and all. I was just passing through, so I didn't stick around. I figured they had caught and hung you by now. Then I seized you earlier, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I had to get a closer look." The bald man took a nervous breath. "How did you get away?" Donovan nodded toward the direction that Fletcher had raced by. "My horse." The bald man nodded. "I can see that. What brings you our way?" "Me and this old man know each other. Seems to me you got him against his will," said Donovan. The bald man nodded toward the jailhouse. "You see that man down there?" Donovan nodded. "I've seen him." "He's a friend of mine. Been friends since we were youngsters. We're fixing to get him out." Donovan glanced at Papa. Though he had blood on his lips and a bruised face, his eyes were brave and defiant. His Papa reminded him of a captured soldier that was being escorted to his execution. "What's that got to do with this old man?" said Donovan. "He's going to help us," said the bald man. "He's not," said Donovan. "You'll help your friend without the old man." The bald man frowned. "Can't do that, but you can move along. I got no quarrel with you." "I got no quarrel with you either," said Donovan. "I'm more than tired of bloodshed. I figure there's got to be a better way than men just killing each other. I understand your situation, maybe better than you do. My wife was killed a few years ago. I killed every man that had anything to do with it, but now I'm done killing. You do what you gotta do, but without the old man." The men studied Donovan. The man with the sideburns leaned forward and turned his gun on Donovan.
Is that right? Well, you're in no position to talk about killing. Maybe I'll just kill you.
Sideburns pointed at the jailhouse.
Since you care so much for the old man, you can join us. You can help us get that money and free our partner, said Sideburns.
The bald man smiled at Donovan.
You see, that's what happens when you don't mind your business.
Sideburns pointed.
Let's go.
Papa was about to take a step, but saw that Donovan didn't move. Donovan was eyeing him. What happened to your face? He asked. Papa thought this was a strange question to ask in a time like this, when both their lives were at stake. All Donovan's actions to this point were strange to him anyway. He saw Donovan send his horse running. Then he walked right over to them. He had to have seen the men and their guns, but he came anyway. And now, with their guns pointed at Donovan, he was asking him about his bruised face. He almost didn't answer the question, but he could see that Donovan wasn't moving until he got an answer.
I was beaten,
he said under his breath.
Let's go,
Sideburns commanded. Donovan ignored him. His next question to Papa surprised him even more. Which one? At first, Papa found it very odd that in the midst of the current situation, Donovan would even want to know which man had hit him. But as he looked into his son's eyes, he came to realize what Donovan was planning to do. He was certain that underneath Donovan's coat, he had 2 side pistols. Until now, he didn't quite understand why he had needed such armory. But from listening, it turns out that Donovan had killed all the men that had killed his wife Sydney. He was certain that he was going to attempt to kill these 2 men as well. Sideburns nudged Donovan with his pistol.
Enough talk. Let's go.
Donovan once again refused the command and glanced at Mama and Sage on the wagon about 50 yards away. Did they harm them?
No, Papa whispered.
Sideburns lost patience with Donovan and tried to backhand Donovan with his pistol. But Donovan was quicker and pulled out both his pistols and fired his first shot into the bald man's face, who also got off a single shot, which hit Donovan in the shoulder. The impact of the bullet forced Donovan to lose his balance, but before he hit the ground, he managed to get off 2 rounds into the chest of Sideburns. Sideburns fell on his back. Donovan struggled to his feet. The bald man's eyes were opened wide with death. The man with the sideburns was still breathing, but his eyes were closed. Donovan pointed his pistol at his head. "Hey," Donovan said. Sideburns opened his eyes. "This is for beating my papa," Donovan said. A moment later, Sideburns lay dead, with a bullet in his forehead. Behind him, Donovan could hear the screams of the crowd down the street. He dropped the empty shells from the chambers and reloaded. Papa watched him in disbelief.
"You're gonna need a doctor."
The blood was starting to trickle from the shoulder.
"It's not bad enough for a doctor,"
he said as he stuffed the pistols back into their holsters. He looked behind. Some of the crowd were making their way toward him, but stopped when he turned to them. He put his fingers to his lips and whistled for Fletcher. Papa was stunned as he eyed the dead men. He couldn't believe that Donovan had pulled this off. It happened so fast that he didn't realize what had happened until it was over. He watched his son, who seemed unfazed. From his demeanor, he had obviously been in this type of situation before.
"You should be dead,"
said Papa.
"Both of us should be dead."
Donovan nodded. "I reckon we got a lucky break." Papa grabbed Donovan by the arm.
"I appreciates what you done for me. Those men were going to get me killed."
Donovan turned to the dead men on the ground. "I didn't want it to end this way. They left me no choice." Papa turned to Mama. She was still on the wagon with Sage. Her hands were covering her face.
"We best go tend to your mama. After what you just did, she probably about to have a heart attack."